Welcome to our February travel talk. Thank you very much for joining us today. My name is Carolyn Mackley and I'm the marketing manager here at National Travel Group, looking after national travel, national seniors travel and trade travel. This week we have our February travel talk, which is on Martin Randall Travel. So thank you very much for joining us. Just a few housekeeping notes. Today the webinar is scheduled for an hour, including Q&A at the end. So 30 minutes plus 15 roughly of Q&A. Participation, we encourage you to ask questions. If you can do so via the Q&A feature at the top of your screen, and then we'll be able to come back to them during the Q&A session during later on in this session. Everyone will be on mute during the presentation, but please, drop things in the Q&A, or you can pop something in the chat and we'll keep an eye on it. We are recording the session today, and we'll make the recording available at the website if you ever want to sort of go back and watch it again. If you're experiencing any technical difficulties, please message us in the chat function, and we'll do our very best to be able to assist you. So without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Linda and Kelly from Martin Randall Travel. Welcome, Linda and Kelly.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Caroline, and thank you to you and to the team at National Travel for hosting Kelly and I today. We're delighted to be introducing Martin Randall Travel to all of your clients. And just a little bit about Martin Randall Travel before we kick off. If you haven't heard of Martin Randall Travel before, they are the world's leading cultural tour operator, specialising in expert-led small group tours and all-inclusive private music festivals. We like to think for the intellectually and culturally curious. So hopefully we will whet your appetite today, and you'll be travelling on a Martin Randall tour later this year, or perhaps into next year. So I'm going to take you through some interesting points to start with, just to sort of get you in the mode for the rest of the presentation and sort of set the feel for who Martin Randall is. And then Kelly Ward, our country manager, is going to be then taking you into a little bit more depth and exploring some of the tours with you as well. So Martin Randall's distinctive experiences, one of the biggest things and points of interest is that they have expert-led tours. So the tours are led by what we call expert speakers. Quite often they might be academics or lecturers, but they are definitely experts in their field. So the information that they're imparting to you is of the highest quality and coming from somebody who's likely have studied or lived in the area of that field for a very long time. The tours that we have specialise in art, architecture, archaeology, history, music for the music lovers, gastronomy for those who love to eat and drink and learn all about food and wine, often combined with beautiful walking tours, houses and gardens. So think sort of, great castles and gardens in Scotland, or perhaps Irish houses in Ireland, and opera and ballet. So if you have an interest in any of those fields, you'll find that Martin Randall offer, beautiful touring right throughout the world. Privileged access. So quite often what Martin Randall customers get to experience is access into perhaps buildings or locations, castles, homes that are not normally open to the general public. So there is a lot of privileged access on the tours, where perhaps the owner of the house will personally greet of the residents or of the castle, the property, will personally greet the Martin Randall Travel guests, and that will be a very private and privileged access where nobody else will be able to get that, even on any other tours. The general public will not be able to turn up and look at the building or the garden, etc. So that's something very special. Original itineraries that are meticulously planned, and if you do, or when you do have a look, I'm sure you will, when you hear the presentation, want to explore some of the itineraries in detail, you will see that these itineraries are not the normal itineraries that you can get from any other tour operators. They are curated down to the minute detail, and they are meticulously planned by experts in the field. We have around 224 tours across 40 countries, so plenty for you guys to explore. Travelling in comfort, so the standard of accommodation, the standard of transport is of the highest standard and very, very comfortable. So you will have an extremely comfortable journey with Martin Randall, and they are leaders in their field. Nobody has the scope of the tours in cultural tours that we've gone through, and in the detail that we have, particularly when you get into some of our music festivals and river cruises, which Kelly will take you through shortly. So that's just an overview, just to give you a taste of what you can expect throughout the presentation and what you can expect if you were to embark on a Martin Randall travel tour. So I'm going to hand over to Kelly, and I'll join you again at the end of the presentation. Kelly, please take it away.
Thanks, Linda, and
You're
thank
welcome.
you everyone for being here. Just a tiny note about myself. I joined Martin Randall Travel 29 years ago, straight after studying archaeology and classics at university, and I never expected to still be here. But I am so very deeply passionate about the wonderful tours that we do offer. And there is something extremely compelling about creating such memorable and meaningful experiences for people. So just an introduction to our three key products. We offer about 200 small group tours each year. These are between 10 and 22 participants, and all of these tours are accompanied by an expert lecturer. We go to about 40 different countries throughout the world, and they are all themed around a particular cultural focus. We also offer our Martin Randall festivals. These are completely unique. I will go into explaining them in more detail later, but the ethos behind them is to celebrate music and place, private performances in appropriate historic venues. The audiences range from about 100 to 300 participants. We have standing class musicians performing for us, and there is a range of price bands depending on accommodation options. And the third product we offer are our cruises, and these can be anything from small chartered ships for just 30 participants up to about 125. Again, all are accompanied by an expert lecturer. Some are music festivals themselves. Others might be focusing on art, history, archaeology. Some examples we have here are cruising, history and art along the Danube, music along the Rhine. We've got cruising the Douro in Portugal, music along the Seine, and we're starting, there's Cambodia by river, and we're launching cruising the Nile next year. So that's pretty exciting. I'll talk about the Dalmatian coast also a little bit later. So as I mentioned, all our tours are structured around a particular theme, and these are things like archaeology tours. So you might be, we go to Sicily, and you may be standing in Agrigento amid these amazing, beautiful, honey-coloured temples that have stood there for over 2,000 years. Art and architecture, which is a primary, one of our main focuses. And this could be anything like a dedication to a single artist or movement. We do a Piero della Francesca tour or a Bauhaus tour. Or we might be looking at a city, Venice, Madrid, or even a broader sweep like Peru, Bulgaria, Cambodia. Our gastronomy tours, these combine the exceptional dining experiences, which may be anything from Michelin-starred restaurants with, really innovative, cutting-edge cuisine to really traditional, beautiful, rustic trattoria. And as well as that, we have behind-the-scenes production experiences. So we may be looking at production of Parmigiano, or we visit Sicilian salt flats. We have olive oil and wine tastings and truffle hunting, all kinds of lovely, exciting and beautiful experiences. And there's often an artistic element to those tours as well. So our history tours, these explore political and military themes, so things like the Western Balkans, a Churchill tour we have, and we have really amazing experts in these fields, often people who have been diplomats or involved in some of the historical behind-the-scenes activities that we're exploring. Our house and gardens tours, these are always popular with our Australian clients. So these may be country houses in England and Scotland. We look at gorgeous Italian Renaissance gardens or French Baroque designs. And we also include some lovely, interesting contemporary garden designs as well. All of these, or most of these, house and garden tours involve some form of privileged access, so places you cannot get to by yourself. Our literature and drama, there's not a lot we're doing at the moment, but we will be doing Iceland's story next year, which is focused on a lot on the sagas, and we have done Shakespeare tours, Dickens, that kind of thing. Music, opera and ballet, so these are small group tours to existing festivals or opera houses. We can do the big well-known places like Verona Opera, or even some lovely slightly more niche festivals like the Lofoten Islands in Norway. We have a lot of ring cycle tours for all those Aussie Wagner enthusiasts, which there are actually a lot among our clientele. Again, there's usually some art historical walks included. Our walking tours, these usually daily country walks for about 5-10 kilometres, paired with lovely cultural visits to historic towns, some wine tasting, sometimes even music festivals as well. We go to southern Tuscany, we have walking to Derbyshire houses, and we have a beautiful walking tour along the Danube that includes some of these private concerts that I was talking about a little bit earlier. So looking at some of our most popular tours, here's just a little sample for you of some of the ones that really appeal, especially to our Australian travellers. So Civilizations of Sicily, which I'll actually go into a bit more later. Samarkand and Silk Road cities. This is the way to see Uzbekistan. It's not a place easy to go to on your own, and we have exceptional lecturers taking this tour. We have 4 departures already on sale for 2027 because 2026 is fully booked, and it's a good one to get in early. Art in Japan. This is a beautiful balance of exploring temples, outstanding museums, and we also go to the contemporary art island of Naoshima. We're doing quite a bit more in a couple of new tours in Japan also next year, which is quite exciting. Some other of our popular tours, Great Irish Houses, which I will talk about again in more detail later. Footpaths of Umbria. I think we are going to go back to that one in a minute with a video. But just a little, that's one of our lovely walking tours, and we are walking through the Umbrian countryside. We see, we stop at places, obviously, the Basilica of San Francesco in Assisi, and see the amazing frescoes, Giotto, and the Legend of the True Cross at Arezzo. So incredible art, wine, and walking through spectacularly beautiful countryside. Gastronomic Provence is a lovely one of our many gastronomy tours. So we're looking at the culinary history of the region, amazing markets with gorgeous local produce, Provençal street food, and amazing Michelin-starred restaurants as well. This is the video. So this is sort of a video that introduces our small group tours, but it's focused on the Footpaths of Umbria tour. So it gives you a little taste. Is that going to play? It might play. Here we go. It's missing the music somehow, but if you want, you can actually go to our website and see this. It should be in the small group tours section, or if you just look up Footpaths of Umbria, you can find this lovely little video as well, which gives you a taste of some of the beautiful places we visit. And you'll see, you might have just seen there, the headsets as well. So all our tours are, you know, it's very easy to get the information because everyone has their headsets. The lecturers are not having to yell or wave umbrellas or anything like that. It's all very civilized. So I'm going to just talk to you now about a couple of our tours. As I mentioned, Civilizations of Sicily is one of our most popular tours. We have 3-4 departures each year, and it's such an extraordinary place, having had sort of centuries or 3 millennia of conquest and colonization. There is so much to see in Sicily, of the artistic and cultural expression of all these different types of civilizations. So we have the Greek temples in Segesta and Agrigento, and we visit the archaeological part in Siracusa. We look at beautiful Roman mosaics in Piazza Marina, and there is all the fabulous Norman Renaissance Baroque architecture, and you'll see the little image there below of the gorgeous gold sparkling Palatine Chapel in Palermo, where we actually have a spectacular private evening visit, which is very moving. We also have a lovely private lunch with a principessa in her own palazzo. So quite a mix of things, and we cross over to see the Riace bronzes as well in Reggio de Calabria. So there are and all our speakers are experts in the field. What's so lovely about this tour is you see Sicily, the whole island, and all the different civilizations, but we just have 3 hotels, Palermo, Taormina and Siracusa, and we have a really well-balanced itinerary which gives you a lovely rest day in Taormina, a beautiful hotel overlooking the sea with a pool. So it's just a it's a glorious way to experience Sicily. The next tour I'm going to comment on today is our Great Irish Houses tour. So as I said, our country houses tours are really popular with our Australian clients, and this one particularly, it is just full of special visits, places you could never get to by yourself. We have the owners of some of these wonderful houses inviting us to dinner, lunch, or to look around, and it's just for our group. So we look at some of the finest country houses in Ireland. There's a lot of Georgian architecture. There's beautiful fine furniture, exceptional gardens, and really important picture collections as well, and lots of really fascinating history and story. That is a feature of these tours. Our lecturers are there to build a narrative, not just to tell you this was this is that. They're building a whole narrative for your experience, so you can really understand the context and meaning for the places that we visit. And Anthony Lambert, pictured here, is an exceptional storyteller. This tour involves a number of private homes specially opened for our clients. So we have a special lunch at Barons Court, and that has a really special picture collection. And then there's a dinner at the lovely lakeside Crom Castle, which is a 19th century Gothic revival castle with this spectacular cathedral staircase as you enter. So that's a really special evening. We stay in a couple of hotels, three I think, including one which is a stately home. So that's a little focus on some of our small group tours. As I mentioned at the beginning, I'm going to introduce you to the idea of Martin Randall festivals. So these are exceptional, entirely unique. No one else does them. They are logistically an incredible feat of precision and planning. So they're very hard to replicate. So what they do is they offer a week of private concerts performed by outstanding world-class musicians in historic buildings that are chosen specifically to match the music performed there. We arrange the whole package, so we engage the musicians, we choose the music, we arrange the venues, the coaches, the hotels, the tips, the art historical walks, even down to the interval drinks. Everything is organised for you so that you can kind of float above the logistics and practicalities and really immerse yourself in the beauty of the music and the places that you're visiting. They're usually, we do them quite often either based in one place. So we've got the Monteverdi in Venice there. And that includes, I mean, apart from various amazing concerts, one of them is his Vespers in I Frari, the Church of I Frari, where he's buried. So just that beautiful resonance of music and place. And others are more journeys, like we have the river festivals. We're cruising along the Rhine and the Danube with concerts on land in these glorious buildings. And everybody moves through the same concert program. So you're together with the same audience for a week, and it is like a journey, even if you're based in one place, because it's a musical journey. You have talks by expert lecturers, and the only difference is there's usually a variety of accommodation bands, so there is a variety of prices accordingly. So one of our festivals this year is the Bach Journey. So of all our festivals, this is one that most evocatively matches music and place, because you are journeying through the places where Bach lived and worked, from his birthplace to where he lived at the end of his life. So we have 9 concerts following in his footsteps, and the musicians are some of the finest interpreters of Bach in the world. You will be hearing things like his works in a church where he was a chorister, or a organ recital on an organ that Bach played. Or we have one of the outstanding highlights of this festival in 2026, so in September 2026, is a performance of the Brandenburg concertos in the Schloss Cotton, where they were written. And we are accompanied by 2 of the world authorities on Bach, Sir Nicholas Kenyon and Professor John Butt as well. Again, you have a band of different hotels, a band of different hotel bands with different prices, and you stay in 3 places in Eisenach, Weimar and Leipzig. Sorry, you can go now, Linda. Thank you. So, Music Along the Rhine, this is a long-standing perennial favourite. We travel through 4 different countries, from Basel to Amsterdam, and there is time to really explore beautiful towns such as Freiburg, Speyer, Bonn, Cologne, Utrecht. We have 7 private concerts in beautiful palaces, halls, churches along the way. It includes Vox Luminis performing a lovely Baroque program in the glorious Baroque church in Speyer. And we have the Freiburg Baroque Orchestra, Freiburg Baroque Orchestra performing in Freiburg, which is lovely and resonant. We have a beautiful Mozart and Schubert performance in the Schloss Mannheim, really special setting. And we have a Beethoven program in the Beethoven House in Bonn, where he was born. Most of these venues would be absolutely impossible to get into on your own, but they are there for our private groups for up to about 100 guests. It feels really intimate and relaxed and very special. And there are daily talks from our expert speaker, Dr. Katie Hamilton, who is a broadcaster, musicologist, and absolutely loved by our clients. People often just book again for her. So we've talked about our small group tours, we've talked about our music festivals, and also the other thing we offer are cruises. So these are cruises that have a cultural focus, so they might be the music festivals like the Rhine, which I mentioned, or we are looking at art, history, archaeology, that kind of thing. So we sail, our ships' capacities vary from about 30 to about 125. You can see there that some of the places we go: Cambodia, the Dalmatian coast, the Rhine, the Danube, and the Douro as well. The Douro is, we go through this beautiful stretch in the Douro Valley, and we visit lots of Portuguese hilltop towns and castles, and the Quinta wine growing estates, lots of special visits and places you couldn't easily get to, because our lecturer has a lot of special connections, especially in the port wine production area. So one of these cruises is History and Art Along the Danube, where we look at the highlights of the Habsburg Empire. There is a little video on our website by Fred, who introduces this, so you should listen to it because it's just very compelling. We are really excited about this because the first time we've done the Danube for 30 years, but we have not done it as a history and art. It's always been a music festival. So this is really exciting. The exciting thing about this is when you've got 120 people, some of the private visits we can organise are places that we wouldn't be able to get into with a small group of 22. So that means we've got a private after hours visit to the Upper Belvedere in Vienna. We have one amazing hour in the Kunsthistorisches Museum, just our group, all by ourselves. And we have a private viewing of the Budapest Matthias Church as well. The scenery is spectacular. The buildings, the architecture, the art we see, all quite glorious. And we have 3 expert speakers, all with various areas of complementary expertise. And our ship is the Amadeus Nova. It's 4-star. It's a maximum capacity of 125 guests, and it's, you can see, it's a sort of 4-star luxury ship, very comfortable. So sailing the Dalmatian coast is another one of our small cruises, which we have 2 departures this year which are full, but we've got 2 already on sale for next year in April and October. So up to 30 participants. We are cruising through this amazingly beautiful, unspoilt landscape. We start in Split's old town, which is built around the palace of Diocletian, and you can really feel the sort of layers of Roman medieval history there. And then we board the ship and make our way down the Dalmatian coast. It's a small ship which allows us access to some of the smaller harbours, which is lovely, and we see beautiful unspoilt coastal towns, crystal blue turquoise water. I mean, it's really lovely. We finish in Dubrovnik, which is obviously UNESCO World Heritage Site, described as by George Bernard Shaw as paradise on earth. And our speakers are Dr. Mark Thompson, Dr. Zoe Pasic, who are very inspiring speakers and lovely people as well, which is very important. So Martin Randall Travel, as we have said, the expert speakers are the key ingredient to our tours. The most important thing is we audition all our speakers very carefully, no matter how renowned they are. We don't take them on reputation alone. They have to be able to communicate really deep knowledge, expert knowledge, in a way that is engaging and appropriate for the fact that people are actually on holiday. And this is what I'm talking about when we're talking about creating a narrative, creating a story for people to follow, not a list of dates and facts, etc. Obviously the facts, but a bit more than that. So Michael Douglas Scott, I'll just go back and quickly talk about them. Michael Douglas Scott, he's a specialist in Renaissance art, one of our most popular lecturers, takes a lot of Italian tours. Ian Shearer, archaeologist, an Aussie archaeologist, and he leads our tours to Uzbekistan and Morocco. And Katie Hamilton, we mentioned before, on Music Along the Rhine, really exciting lecturer. People love to listen to her. Just one last thing, every tour is also accompanied by at least one, well, small group tours, one tour manager, professional tour manager, or more, obviously, on the bigger events. But they ensure smooth logistics, a welcoming atmosphere, and that you get to just relax and enjoy yourself on holiday, not worrying about those things. Over to you, Linda.
Third time lucky. Thank you, Callie. I'm sure you'll agree, everyone. Callie's knowledge is incredible, and just listening to her talk about some of the tours and the destinations makes me want to jump straight on a plane and embark on a beautiful Martin Randall tour. But I wanted to talk to you a little bit about who you'll expect, you know, a typical Martin Randall travel customer, and who, if you decide to travel on a Martin Randall travel tour, who you're likely to be, you know, traveling alongside, which is very important for some people. And we find that Martin Randall travel clients are typically curious, cultured, and generally deeply engaged, quite connected to the tour, the area, and to, you know, what they're seeing and learning about whilst they're on tour. We find that the interest generally goes just beyond sightseeing, and that seeking experiences, you know, seldom available elsewhere. And I think that that's a lot to do with the expert speakers. It's very hard to encounter such incredibly educated and knowledgeable speakers on some of the other general touring. It's certainly not what you would expect to get on a normal coach tour. It's not somebody grabbing the microphone on the coach and reading from a list. This is, you know, decades sometimes, and years and years of expert knowledge and learning that these people are imparting to you. Life affirming and dynamic, you know, the trip of a lifetime comes to mind, and that really does play out with a lot of the Martin Randall tours, and the clients we know travel on Martin Randall over and over and over again, just confirming the experiences they're having are simply incredible and life affirming. Drawn to depth over speed. So, you know, the average age, I suppose, would be 60 plus on a tour. Certainly doesn't mean that if you're younger than that, that you can't. You know, we certainly have people in their 50s doing tours, but it is a slower pace as well. It gives you time to really enjoy what you're seeing and what you're learning without having to, you know, rush on to the next destination. You know, responsive to beauty, history, and ideas. And as Callie said, and I really love, and it's adamant when we talk to the expert speakers, is they are incredible storytellers. And you know, whatever they impart to you isn't just a fact. It's not delivered in an educational type of environment. It's on tour while you're looking at some incredible, you know, scenery, or a building, or a church, or whatever it is, and these learnings are then, you know, converted into beautiful stories and ideas that are shared with you. We find that customers are eager to learn, so it is for people who want to be inspired and learn while they're traveling, and the market for that is massive, and people do want that, and that's, you know, something Martin Randall Travel is proud to offer, and offer in a really beautiful, highly refined way. And conscious of time's value, you know, as we said, you know, not rushing, and really taking the time to appreciate and explore what you're seeing. Traveling solo. So if you are a solo customer, please don't feel that Martin Randall might not be for you. In fact, it absolutely is for you. And solo travellers typically make up half of every single tour. So whilst there aren't dedicated solo tours, and you will be travelling with other couples and also other solo travellers, please know that solo travel is very welcome on Martin Randall Tours, and you certainly won't be the only solo traveller on the tour. You also enjoy, from a room perspective, sole occupancy of a double room, so not squashed into a single room, particularly important in Europe when some of the rooms can be quite small. You are definitely sharing the same type of room category as the other customers. Very reasonable single supplements. So Martin Randall do not surcharge the tours. You will be paying, obviously, a little bit more, because the hotel will pass on a supplement, and that will be passed on to you. But unlike other tour operators, you are not being charged by Martin Randall for being a single customer. And often Martin Randall will subsidise the tours so that it is a reasonable cost for singles to join the tours. So very welcome on the Martin Randall Tours. And also the tour manager ensures that you are in an inclusive, warm, welcoming environment where guests dine and explore together. So that is very much noted and taken into account with every tour. So proud to present to you that 96.8% of customers rate Martin Randall 5 stars and 3.2% 4 stars. You can see 0 customers rating 3, 2 or 1 star, and we've included some of the some of the comments there that for you to have a look at, which is incredible. For a tour operator to be delivering and receiving these results and receiving these comments year after year. So we hope that gives you the confidence to travel and know that Martin Randall Travel is delivering on the the highest level possible. So just to recap, why Martin Randall Travel and the difference is that we have been trusted in the cultural tour space since 1988. Privileged access, as Kelly's talked about in some detail, beyond the ordinary, led by specialists who not just give you information but illuminate and excite you whilst you're on tour in properties and visiting locations and delivering that extraordinary knowledge in a meaningful and purposeful way. Small groups between 10 and I think 20 to 22 actually participants. So you aren't going to be on big coaches, 40 people, 50 people. You have got a very small and intimate experience. Original itineraries that you won't find anywhere else, and meticulously planned and curated down to the nth detail to ensure that you do have an extraordinary journey. Transparent pricing, which is an inclusive arrangement. So from the very beginning, you will know the cost and every single thing that is included, whether it's one meal a day, which it's very unlikely. There's generally, breakfast, a certain amount of lunches and a certain amount of dinners. And, generally wine is matched to the meal. And look, the inclusions are incredible. We do also give you the opportunity to view the hotels that you'll be staying at before you book and before you travel, so you know exactly where you're staying, which isn't always the case with some other tour operators. And certainly Martin Randall Travel is in that premium cultural travel segment. So Martin Randall Travel, the Martin Randall Travel difference is experience the world's greatest cultural achievements with expert speakers, seamless travel and privileged access. So we do have, that's officially the end of the formal presentation. Hope you enjoyed so far. And Caroline, if you're there, would you like to host question time?
Yes, perfect. I will. We have a question from Miriam. Thank you very much. What is your Bulgaria tour and when is it scheduled?
Okay, well, thank you, Miriam. Lovely to have you here. Our Bulgaria tour goes in beginning of October. I'm just trying to get the dates in front of me. 2nd of October to the 12th in 2026. I think we've got 2027 now on sale as well. So it is a kind of focus on the archaeological sites, but also looking at some of the later kind of art and architecture. We travel, let me just get the itinerary in front of me. We start in Sofia and then we have quite a few different hotel stops. So we go to Plovdiv, Varna, Abanasi and Tarnova. It's sort of quite a, I mean, when I say general, it's general as in you're seeing quite a few places and quite a number of different sites, but we have experts, so it's not general in the knowledge that you'll receive. But yes, it's very, very popular, the Bulgaria tour, actually. It's a lovely way to visit it.
Now, we don't have any other questions in the Q&A, but I've actually been writing down a couple of questions that I've had as throughout the call. So I might just jump in there. So you mentioned, was it 26 or 29 years for you, Kelly?
29.
29 years. What?
Yes.
So I can imagine you've been on a lot of different itineraries. What would you say is your favorite? Like, you always revert back to that one?
There's a couple. I mean, my favorite has to be Libya, but we don't go there anymore. However, we do go to Tunisia, and we are looking at bringing Algeria back next year, which I'm really excited about. Which I might try and get onto that one too, because Timgad is my ultimate dream to get to one day. But Connoisseurs Rome was one of the early itineraries that I did, and that involves lots and lots of different private visits. We get into the Palazzo Farnese in Rome, which is almost it's the French embassy. It's really hard to get into. We have, and the highlight is, of course, the private viewing of the Sistine Chapel. And there is nothing like being in the Sistine Chapel. I'd been there so many times before anyway, because I lived in Italy for a while, but always with hundreds of tourists. And just going there with 40 people, because we have 2 groups combined, it was gigantic. I suddenly understood how big it was and how amazing. And you had time to look at the incredible Michelangelo's and Raphael artworks. It was one of the most moving experiences in my life.
Amazing. You mentioned, excuse me, Linda, you mentioned a new Nile itinerary, I think.
Yes. So we are planning that for October or November 2027. So we've just started going back to Egypt last year, end of last year. We do a land-based our tour, Pharaonic Egypt, and that's just had amazing reviews, really gone down very well. And then we are going to do the Nile cruise, which should be available to book from about April. I'm afraid I don't know anything about it at this stage because I haven't seen
top secret
anything. Yes, but it will be taking place in November 2027. I think it's going to be very popular. All our Egypt tours keep just selling out straight away. So everyone wants to go there. And, of course, see the amazing Grand Egyptian Museum now opened in Cairo, which is really exciting.
Amazing. With your, I know you did touch on your experts and the process you go through to just make sure they are the right fit for the business. How do you find them? So from the get-go, because they're quite very well educated experts in their field. How do you kind of find those?
A lot of them come to us. They approach us because Martin Randall Travel really does have a top quality reputation. Our lecturers love taking our tours. I mean, you couldn't do it if you didn't love doing it. And sometimes they're recommended by other lecturers. Sometimes they're recommended by staff, like a lot of our staff who've had wonderful lecturers at universities. And sometimes that's really great because you get sort of these really amazing people that you wouldn't necessarily know of because they're not big names, but they're incredible lecturers. So we have, quite a large staff of about 50 people, and so we have often recruited from there. But a lot of people do do come to us as well because of the reputation.
Amazing. And we've got another question from Gary. Any pricing? Gary, was there a particular product or itinerary that you're wondering about with that one?
While we're waiting for that to come through, Caroline, if I can, just mention here, it's always difficult to show brochures and things, but we have just released, 2 weeks ago, our brand new 2026 and 2027 brochure, which we're very happy. And we also have a beautiful client magazine where, if people are interested in reading, some of the expert speakers and past customers have written some beautiful stories and accounts of their tours. So if any of the clients would like those from today, if they could just say a yes or let in the chat, then we would be very happy to share. Obviously need the addresses for where to send them. We would be very happy to send out a brochure which has a tour list of all of our 26 and 27 product. It shows a very small sample because we have so many tours. We could only choose a dozen tours for the brochure, but it does have all the tours listed in the back. And we can also send the client magazine as well. So if anyone would like that, we're very happy to send it out on your behalf, Caroline, which we've done with other suppliers as well, with a letter introducing National Seniors. Yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone else? I have one last question, but does anyone else have any other questions?
I thought I'd just, I mean, I don't know which tour obviously Gary was referring to, but I don't want to ignore your question either. So just taking a random tour, and I was on Bulgaria. So for 2 people sharing, the land only cost without flights would be $8,960 for how many days is that? That's for 11 days, and that includes probably, I mean, not all the meals, but actually it's 8 lunches, 7 dinners, all the drinks, all admissions, tips, etc. So there's not much you'd have to add on to that of your own personal costs. Or for a single, just to give an idea, a single, $9,990.
And that's actually one of the questions we have from Kirsty, actually. May I ask what the single supplement cost is, and are single rooms available?
So all our tours, we offer double rooms for sole occupancy. We pass on the single supplement that the hotel passes to us with no markup, quite often subsidised as well. We sometimes we'll if you're on our weekly e-newsletter, we will quite often try and do tours with low single supplement kind of blast or whatever. But it's also something we can talk to you on the phone if there's particular places, but it will depend on where we're going.
Okay. Well, we do have a couple of brochure requests in here, so I'll write those down and I'll send you the email addresses, and then you'll be able to send those
and then
out.
yes,
and
if you do want, we'll email and ask if you prefer a hard copy, and we don't want to put your address there. That's fine. But yes, we'll sort that out, Caroline. No problem.
Wonderful. Well, I think I'm just double checking. I cannot see any other questions on the chat or in the Q&A.
Did Gary have a question? So did we answer Gary's question?
Oh, sorry, did he comment? Bear with me.
I thought
yes,
Gary
here we
had
go.
a question.
Sorry. He said, yes, please. 8 tens. Oh, sorry. That's his address. That's fine.
Okay.
You'll get a copy of the brochure. So thank you for sharing that. Very organised. No, he was just after a general idea on pricing.
Okay.
Amazing. Well, Thank you so much, Kelly and Linda, for taking the time to present today. And thank you to everyone for attending our webinar. I hope you found it really interesting, and please reach out if you need any assistance with anything, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Caroline.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.